Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Kristin Hildabrand, Warren County Extension Agent for Horticulture. Good morning, Kristin.
Good morning, Joanna.
Now, Kristin, the other day we talked a little bit about garden journaling, and today we gave you some ideas then, and now we're going to talk about what actually to put into your garden journal.
Yes. So there's a lot of different things that you can log in a garden journal. And I feel like sometimes people don't know exactly where to get started. So that's why we've kind of put together this segment. So that way it does give you a better picture of of things to include in a garden journal. So one of the things that is very, very important is dates. So whenever you're looking at doing different activities in your garden, whether it be doing a soil test or actually adding fertilizer according to the soil test, or maybe even planting, doing other maintenance on your garden plants like fertilizer or adding mulch. Things like that are all things that are really, really important for you to include in a garden journal. So make sure that you do have those dates. Another thing, according to the dates that you might want to log in a garden journal are, basically the weather patterns that we are experiencing through the different seasons. So the spring season can look very different versus the summer season and even the fall season. And the winter time, you might even have some vegetables that overwinter during that time that you're doing other things, maybe even other winter type chores at that time as well. So really include the dates and also weather patterns, because if you can see exactly when it's written down in that calendar, or maybe even again with your notes that you're including on your garden journal, that's going to help you remember exactly what's going on. So think about, in the fall, the late fall, and even early spring, we can have freeze type damages that occur, or you might want to include the highs and lows for that day. And the UK Ag Weather Service has a great link if you want to put in your information, and that way you can kind of log that down. In case you forget, you can always refer back to it. The other thing that you kind of mentioned yesterday is that varieties are very important when it comes to your plants. So we always try to recommend, if you're say you're busy with other things with your household, to include disease resistant varieties if you can. There are some nice heirloom open pollinated varieties if you're looking for a niche market, but always include those varieties, because certain varieties need more TLC or tender loving care versus some of the newer hybrids or disease resistant varieties. So you can include that, say, in just on a blank page. You can actually tape those down if you want to save those plant tags, or if you just want to put it in some kind of holder or a folder, then that's a great way that you can go back and look at what varieties that you have.
And one of the things that I like to do with varieties is I like to put the days to maturity or the days till harvest, and then put that down because it always gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're planting and you forget about days of germination, days to harvest, and those type of things. So it kind of gives you a benchmark to go by.
Absolutely. So those are all things to consider. And like you said, if you are using a calendar type system, you can include the planting dates, and then like you can kind of look forward to, okay, counting up how many days to harvest that you might have. And that comes to one of the other things that we're kind of looking at for this month is starting seeds. And so some of the varieties that you might have might not be something that you find at the garden center locally. It's something that you really, really look forward to, because it might have been something that your mother had or your grandparents had. And so things like that, when starting seeds, it's really good to include planting dates for those and all the care that was taken, because sometimes we have to back up several weeks before we know we can actually plant it outside into the garden itself. So those are all good things to include. One thing that I feel like I fall short on, Joanna, is the budget. And so if you can include a budget section, that way that you can see for budgeting for next year, okay, here's how much I've spent on compost, fertilizer, plants, any other equipment, tools, I mean, even trellises or cages. I mean, that all adds up after a while. So if you can keep a good tab on that, that will help you plan for next year. So definitely try to keep a budget if at all possible.
All great ideas, Kristin. And what a better way to get started. Do that now. And then at the end of the year, you can write down your harvest and what did well. And you can really have a great thing to look back on. So, Kristin, thanks for the information this morning. And we appreciate you watching the Farm and Home Show and hope you have a great day.